I title this, How Many Musicians Become Successful? It's a good question. Sorry, my nose is itchy. So I looked that up. It says that 90% of musicians fail to become successful. So that means 10% of us actually are successful. Now, I'm describing the success of a musician as something that's all you do. That's what you do for a living, is that you're a musician. You're not a musician on the side. Matt Muckle, how are you doing, my friend? Let's see what you have to say. My buddy Matt on the East Coast. I'm doing well. I hope you're well too, my friend. Are you talking about you love the sticks from that Michael Lee had? Those are, Matt, maybe you're a guy that's up there. Did you ever meet Michael Lee? I wish I could have. That guy was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Got that Led Zeppelin feel down. Yes, I figured you probably did. So 10% of us musicians actually become successful. What I was saying is that you actually do music for a living. I think that you could still be successful and be the guy that's playing on the weekends or whatever. Mike from North Carolina, good morning to you, sir, too. Mike, it was you that met up with Dave Fowler, right, in Nashville? I think that was you that I saw. I, too, had recently connected with Dave Fowler through another mutual friend. Dave is the bass player for Artemis Pyle and is a seasoned Nashville session guy and also works with Dolly Parton. So, oh, hey, Brandon, what's up? So when I was looking up like reasons that how musicians become successful is that or that they fail is that they think their talent alone is what it's gonna take, but it's all the other stuff. It's the music business side of things. You're cool, Michael. You can catch the replay. All the other things involved with being in music minus actually playing your instrument. And yes, you should be good at playing your instrument because that's just kind of a given, right? You got to be pretty decent at what your talent level is in order to play in the game. But it's larger than that. So here were some great tips, and that you can develop from there. It said there was 10, but number 5 was blank. So we could make up a number 5. Number 1 is not taking marketing seriously. There's, thanks to this technology we have in these forums, we can use that to our advantage. I've heard other people refer to social media as their business card, and I think that's an excellent way to describe being online, is that it's your business card. So, when you're posting what you're doing music-wise, and even what you post, if you post what's going on in your life, whether it's good or bad, those are all reflections of us. So when people start jumping on to complain about stuff that can affect you a lot of times negatively, especially when it revolves around politics and your opinions of those things. It's not that you shouldn't or couldn't. It just, if you are working on being a musician, you want to be careful or cognizant of what you're posting regarding your feelings towards who the president is or should be, and those kind of things. and the hot topic buttons of the day. Sometimes you just need to know when to zip it, because that could be damaging to your career. Number 2 is expecting overnight success. This road is long and probably no end to it. So if you're expecting to just wake up one morning and suddenly everything just falls in your lap, that's probably not going to happen. And sometimes I think people a lot of times think, well, all I have to do is get good and then I'll be successful. Well, there's a lot of other work involved. So it's the long game. You got to be ready for the long game. 3, regarding social media again, is releasing content inconsistently. So if you're not consistent in your use of social media, then there's all things that are involved with like algorithms and those kind of things. Like when you kind of remove yourself from the traffic, it's harder to get into traffic again. So again, if you're using social media and it's your business card, you want to be putting stuff out consistently and regularly, and that represents your brand, how you want to be associated with things. That comes back to the politics of stuff. Ben says he's got a roll. Yeah, stupid work. But you do beautiful work, Ben. You do beautiful work. Someday we need to catch up and have a drink. I think that'd be good. Number 4 is taking fans for granted. So much of this is marketing and social media marketing, and people who support you and enjoy your music and enjoy what you do, make sure you acknowledge them in a way that's like your friends. For now, Ben, we'll have coffee. I would be happy to make time. So we got to get it on the calendar. Let's just do it. That would be great. So taking fans for granted, make sure you treat them as friends. Yes, there are people out there who are over excited in their thing. So, be streetwise at the same time, because you don't need them knocking on your front door at 3 a.m. wanting to hang out. That has happened to people. So there's that. Another one is not taking risks and playing it safe. Sometimes those might be financial, calculated risks are important. Don't just willy-nilly do things. But planning and following the plan and working that plan is going to sometimes feel risky. And so you need to make sure that you have some kind of balance in those things. Another one is musicians always looking for the shortcut. That could probably be related to the second one where I talked about expecting overnight success. I've experienced this too. Not saying that I have all the answers and I know all the right turns to take to get where you want to go. But there was some naivety in my beginnings where I thought just, if you wanted to relate it to something like, oh, I took the blue pills, so now I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to have all of this things going well for me, and there I am. So don't take the shortcuts. Even if you, I think that's true with anything in life. Like if you're building something, if you start taking shortcuts, leaving things out that should be there, cripples your foundation. And then when you get enough stuff on top of that, it tips over and crashes. So Greg is here. He's always got stuff to weigh in with. That's great. Your whole career has been based off of poor impulse control. Well, Some people would call that blind luck. Let's see. Another downfall is spending too much time comparing yourself to others. So I guess on a couple different things you could say, Dan's here from Montreal, Canada. What's up, my friend? I love this. I love seeing my drummer friends from all over popping in here. It's really cool. And other musician friends, not just drummers. But drummers, we have a certain connection, I would say. And that's been evident in my life over the last 2 months. Some really cool friends being there just to say hey over the last 2 months it's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, comparing yourself to others. One is everybody says it's not a competition. Well, maybe it is a little bit. Maybe it is a little bit. I have a little bit of a competitive nature, I must confess. And I think that drives me to try to play better, just on a personal level. But other bands, and especially local, if you're local, comparing yourself to other local bands, people want to know, what are you getting paid? I never ask other musicians what they're getting paid. I think that's bad etiquette. And their financial needs are probably different than mine, so I try not to base my income off of what everybody else is doing. I know what I have to make to have a living, and so I make a lot of my decisions based off of what I need, not based off of what some other band is doing or not doing. So, and most of the people I play music with have that same outlook towards finances. People want to blame venues or a club owner or something because this place will only pay X amount. Well, if that's all they're willing to pay, then don't play there. There's that option, or accept it and play and have fun or whatever. They have their business model and you have your business model. You want to find some working relationship that benefits both of you. So trying to compare yourself to others. Now, if you have a group that's doing really well and you want to model yourself out after somebody else that's having greater success, like regionally or something, you might want to look into what they're doing, but try not to. Maybe this might be more related to talent, or what you might perceive as talent. If I was in the same, like Neil Peart has always been my favorite drummer. He passed away in 2020, but if I got in a room to play drums with Neil Peart, I already know that I am not the drummer that Neil is. Conversely, Neil is not the drummer that I am. So I just need to be the best Fred Fisher, the best Fred Rock, and Neil always wanted to be the best Neil. So you'd hear stories of people would see some amazing drummer. Drummers online now, they play at ridiculous fast speeds. They do things that are just out of this world. I'm pretty positive I will never sit down and work those kind of things, because I personally don't have a need for that for what I do. But you look at L.S. Tapario, who just unbelievably gifted with those kind of things. I'm not trying to be him. So, and he's got quite the online following. So just let him do his thing, and I'll do mine. But don't beat yourself up over you know, somebody who's doing something out of this world. You just do your thing and be out of this world at that. Let's see. Another thing is making excuses. I too I've been so guilty of this. Not so much anymore, but I can catch myself now when I start to fall into those little traps. Is making excuses. Well, can you do this thing? Well, no, I can't because I'm going to wash my hair. Or, you can. There's always a way out of taking action. And that could be related to motivation and all of those kind of things. That could be a really deep dive. Making excuses. We all have life going on. I've been married for, it'll be 28 years in September, and I have 4 kids. They're all boys, ranging in age from 10 to almost 22. Yeah, we have commitments going on outside of music. But since music is our life, we try to stay on track with what we can do as best as we can. But yeah, don't say, well, I couldn't work on my website today because, it was the last day to see 48 hours on Netflix. You could rent that at another time. So don't look for excuses. Then the last thing that I found was waiting for approval from the music industry. Waiting for approval from the music industry is a reason why 90% of musicians fail. I could relate this to Midline pretty easily because we've been a band since 1990. That is 34 years. 34 years of this band, and we've had the door slammed in our face many times, rejection letters many times, and if we had let the measure of what we wanted to do and the measure of our heart's desire would be based on that, the band probably would have been over in a couple of years if it would have lasted that long. If you read up on some of your favorite bands that ever made it, that you just loved, that you thought wrote the best songs, had the best players, whatever band that is to you, they too have experienced all the rejections that most everybody has experienced, when you're trying to aim for that level of stuff. Queen, for example, if you watched the movie or did any research, in the movie they describe Bohemian Rhapsody to the record label as the record label's telling them that the song is too long, it's too much this, it's too much that. Ends up being this incredibly great song, and that record exec probably kicked himself for the rest of his life. So even the arbiters of all things that are popular miss the mark frequently. So don't wait for the approval of those people to move forward with what you want to do, what's burning inside of you, your passion. Don't let that get in the way. That's all I got to say about that.